If you've lived in Texas, or even if you've seen Landman or heard Trump say, "Drill, baby, drill," you've heard of Midland. It's the biggest source of oil in the U.S. by far. Nowhere else even comes close. The Permian Basin is responsible for about 46% of all the oil in the U.S. Not only is it the largest oil field in the U.S., but it's the largest in the whole world. As we like to say, everything is bigger in Texas. Now, I understand the basics of the oil industry, kind of, but I don't really spend much time in my day thinking about the details of how the gas gets to the pump. So, let's nail down some basics here at the Petroleum Museum before we go talk to the professionals. The Petroleum Museum is a pretty cool spot with interactive educational displays and time capsules of oil throughout the decades. If you have to go to Midland, we recommend stopping in and having a look around. You might learn something. You also might leave asking, was that propaganda by the oil industry? To which the answer is probably, yeah. When you're a $4.3 trillion sector, you can do whatever you want. Now, if you want to know all about what oil is and how it's refined, or any of the real technical details, I'm sure there are 100 scientists and engineers with YouTube videos explaining it far better than we could. This episode is more of an exploration of Midland, the business, and the people behind it. To break the industry part of the oil and gas industry down easy, there are three key segments. Upstream, which is where companies explore, locate, and drill wells. Midstream, which is the transportation between wells and refineries. And downstream, which refers to companies who refine the oil and those who sell the finished product. In Midland, most of what you'll see is the upstream. Around here, there are roughly 27,540 operating wells, so you're bound to see quite a few. The upstream is also the most costly part of the oil business. First, you have to find the oil, which means you have to hire geologists and conduct research. Then you have to test it and make sure you're right before spending millions on drilling. Oh, and you have to secure the land rights and all the permits, and then build the rig to drill. Then install the well and hire all the workers and hope that there are no hiccups or injuries, and maintain the well and repair it for breaks, and you see why it's the most expensive part. But that's the name of the game in the industry: high risk, high reward. There are currently 41 oil extraction companies operating in Midland alone, with some 30,000 plus workers. So obviously the model works once you put in the years of elbow grease and funding. This is also what the hit Paramount show Landman is centered all around. The midstream, the transportation sector, is mostly done right under your feet. There are pipelines all over Texas that take the crude oil from the Permian Basin to wherever it needs to go. The highest capacity refinery in the U.S. is, no surprise, also in Texas, Texas City, to be exact, down in Galveston Bay, just south of Houston. It's able to refine about 631,000 barrels per day. Phew. That's why you don't mess with Texas. But that's for another episode. This one's about Midland, not H-Town. Barrel is another common keyword you hear a lot in the oil industry. 1 barrel of oil contains 42 gallons. But the way you probably hear it talked about the most is that price per barrel. The price is determined by the age-old business principle of supply and demand, but on a massive scale. And here's where OPEC, or the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, comes in. We can't dive into it all here, but basically what you need to know is that OPEC regulates the supply by controlling how much oil is available to consumers and sets quotas and production levels for individual countries. There is a lot that comes into play when setting the price per barrel. And there isn't typically just one reason for why it goes up or why it goes down. But here's the rub. Too expensive is bad, and so is too cheap. You need oil and gas companies to make money without shaking out your pockets.